Good day, everybody. Brian here, quantlabsnet.com. Just want to let you know we've got some new exclusive videos posted on my website, quantlabsnet.com. If you want to know more about this stuff, best thing to do is to join via two ways on the main page. You can see below, go to the Learn, and you will get your HFT C++ book for free on how to build not just a system, but an entire firm around high frequency trading. So let's get to this Reddit post posted less than a day ago, quite lengthy. I was just I might do a separate video on this book. This was sent over from my regular source. Big thanks to him for sending it out. Um, Now, when it comes to C++ and even Rust, I'm not writing applications only related around quant trading and just trading, high speed trading, you can call it. And that's it. Any other type of application, I'm not really interested in. We've already talked about the front end, and there's Rust here. You can see here in the last chapter, Rust will replace C++. I think that's more of a hyperbolic statement. That's like people saying, well, C is going to die. Uh, Java's going to die. Look, those are still fairly popular languages. They're not going anywhere. C++ is not going anywhere, especially when you go through this article or post on Reddit on why a lot of the trading systems will continue to be written in C++, not just for legacy code, but even probably up and coming uh, new trading systems from new firms. So this article or post here, me and my brother have started programming our own high frequency trading firm. We're starting by ourselves. Kudos to the guy doing it. He is a very senior C++ developer, a lot of experience in the HFT field. I don't know about the ironclad competitive NDAs you sign. That might not be so easy, especially if it's your own fund. I have 3 years experience in Python backend and 1 year of experience recently in Rust, Greenfield projects. While he is making everything in C++, I'm allowed to build the same functionality in Rust with him reviewing my implementation for speed tweaks and benchmarking. Wondering if the effort of trying out Rust here is futile, because while they say both languages are nearly the same, I feel that the last nanoseconds of performance might be harder to squeeze out of Rust, making this effort futile. Which case I'd rather brush up my C++ and get with him on it. So again, this is specific only to the realm of high frequency trading. So these are responses usually from highly experienced coders, maybe those that work in HFT in this CPP subreddit. Okay, this is very popular for C++, and you'll find the occasional HFT topic in here. So the first question is why? What is the intended purpose of writing two implementations of the same thing, especially for early startup? What benefits are you expecting from Rust and C++, especially given your brother's experience? Does your brother have Rust experience as well, or is the hope that his C++ will translate enough for useful Rust reviews? Uh, the last nanoseconds of performance. Very key, important thing to know about where things are at with the HFT industry. Basically, a lot of it's no longer in software; it's in hardware with FPGAs, microwave, and all that fun stuff, which I've kind of gone on about in prior videos on this topic on YouTube. So in terms of getting extra nanoseconds, depends on exactly what you do. IIRC Rust has pretty decent support for inline assembly intrinsics, though you need a nightly compiler. So it's updating every day, these compilers for Rust. So if that's all you need, you should be fine. Some more exotic data structure might be more interesting, and whether there would be easier, harder to optimize would be pretty case specific. So the brother loves the passion, or he has the passionate, interested in benchmarking Rust versus C++. He can manage different teams comfortably based on his experience and his code experience as well. Wants to have the opportunity to code lots of a safe, performant Rust, a code in Rust, and only dipping into C++ when it's not possible. I'm not sure if this is useful. So the brother is concerned about one thing since last night. If the code publication of Rust is good, since the code will be highly proprietary and strategies are meant to be seen by others on the repo within the same organization. I hope that these are not put up on the public GitHub, or even just GitHub, even though it's a private repository. Not recommended, but that's just mine, because lots of hackers are pretty smart out there to get stuff. So this is an interesting response. What do you expect to hear back from a CPP subreddit? I would just make sure both of you use the same language. One will just get sick, and that is his day. The other needs to fix his code. Most devs I met in the wild were just experienced C++ trying it out. So the original guy posting is Jaeger123. Continuing along. So I don't know much about Rust specifically. I've heard it's not super difficult to integrate with C++, but at the same time, integration barrier is more than would be if you're doing as much as your code as possible in C++. Depends heavily on what exactly you need to do. Everything based around that, what you need as a goal. Integration can be fairly straightforward via crates, such as CXX, but beyond that can quickly become quite hairy. Template inheritance, context expression, or constant expression, constant evaluation, so on. You're not going to be able to beat your brother's performance, but that's mainly down to him having the experience. That's true. You could take a rock star Java programmer with a lot of experience that knows how to optimize Java, and a newbie C++ programmer. Just because they're writing in C++ doesn't mean it's going to be faster automatically than Java. It's based upon the experience and the coder's experience as well. A bunch of HFT stuff is also written with C++ in mind. Kernel bypass libraries are in C++, for example. Also depends what you're doing. That's more than one strategy, but they don't all depend upon having absolute fastest for things would be totally fine. You get this decent trade-off between correctness, execution speed, and development speed. Two more responses. Response was that it's not strictly HFT. It would be medium frequency trading or low frequency trading. Even though benefit from the speed, so plan currently is built to build as much possible in Rust framework against C++ and whatever is equivalent to just have it in Rust. This project doesn't make sense. This is my opinion. I just keep it all in C++, especially if it's HFT. We dip into C++ for only unsafe speed optimization, which we can figure out in Rust. Reasonable unsafe Rust is the same thing in some sense. Okay, so no point in using Rust for this application. I'm 120% in agreement with that. You'll be coding mostly in unsafe Rust, so to avoid the runtime bound checking performance. And again, I'm no expert in C++ or Rust here. For timing critical applications where microseconds count, safety, finance, real rendering, etc., Rust is not suitable, since you'll be mostly using the unsafe variant. C++ is easier to code than unsafe Rust. Opinion, obviously. This is where it gets into this arguing mode. I'm not going to get into it. This back and forth. Right or wrong, I don't know. But one response is, why would he not be able to absorb that hit? Google reported a slowdown of 0.3% after timing on bounds checking in their C++ code base. They also caught bugs that were in the code for a long time. That might be acceptable for an actual application where an error means an a loss of money. Um, it's rare to end up with bound checks at all after the compiler's done optimizing, especially if you focus on iterators from the start. Um, why would he not just absorb the hit? This is very valid. You can tell who's better than the other. This guy here, this crazy world of Arthur Reed, is better. Because the entire point of HFT is to make the trade before the other guy. The guy will be using C++ and will not have to take the hit. So he's going to win every single time. Again, that right there is why I think long term, even as Rust matures, that C++ is still the winner long term in high frequency trading. It's rare to end up with bound check after all the compiler is done optimizing. And if you sink many hundreds of hours in your algorithm and find that there are bound checks, you've wasted your time. That's with Rust. We're talking literal nanoseconds here. HFT is firms pay big money to put their servers so close to the big exchange as they can. In some cases, actually pay to collate them in the exchanges themselves. That's big money. That is because the speed of light is simply too slow. Anyways, it goes on and on about this, but I think that there was a mention of FPGA anyways. That's where the industry's gone and has been there for quite a while. The C++ stuff is helpful, but not as pure as the higher performing HFT. Example, people who chase literal nanoseconds won't use C++. They implement their algos in FPGA and ASICs. Any high-level language optimizing on a bloated OS is woefully inadequate for that kind of instruction level optimization. So there you go, hardware only. HFT is not restricted to nano level trading. There's plenty of space for both micro and millisecond scales, and both Rust and C++ can deal with that. There's still mid-frequency shops running C++ about as fast as you can get on bare metal. Okay, so know that. Mid-frequency versus high frequency. And then we get the standard language is a tool. There's no good suggestion which tool you should be used for performance. Tool must be, you must be comfortable with it. Only be able to squeeze out every bit of performance that is possible at random C++ developer. So there you go. That's how it stands again. Get in on this to get this ebook, HFT C++. That's about it. Thanks for watching. Have a good